I had intention to share it with you, as it was discussed earlier, that that everything is natural, yeah, on the earth, whether it's underground or on the surface, is beneficial for the mankind.
Yes.
So, but they discussed that there are lots of contaminations, in the groundwater. So,
Yes.
which are not,
Yes. That's the point I'm
yeah,
trying to make.
which is harmful for health.
Who
So-
told you?
Yeah, that's what I was.
You see,
to
this is
ask
the
you.
point. We have to ask question, who told you? They assume something and they imply. Do you know the pathogens, the one that causes disease, they cannot exist outside. They are good for inside. There is no place, there is no bacteria. It's impossible. But the bad ones thrive in your body, not outside. You can have cholera bacteria sitting here, it will not live. It has to be in your body, best place. So, they are trying to tell you that you have to kill all the bacteria. This is what we call war on terror. We'll kill all Palestinians because of Hamas. Right? Even if their logic is correct, you cannot ever kill all bacteria. But more importantly, you are killing without reason. Nobody got disease because they're drinking groundwater. That's the best water. You pick it up fresh, that's it. Then what do they want you to do? That's the point I was trying to make. They want you to use chemicals to kill the bacteria. The chemicals they want to kill, Google what they do, side effect gives you diarrhea. Another side effect, zithromycin, it gives you heart problem, so much so that it has been banned by FDA. But they're teaching children because FDA information, the latest information, does not get into children's curriculum. It's the high PhD guys studying. But she's not going to fall for it. She looked for it and said, first question, why are you talking about surface water? Who drinks surface water? Surface water is used to cook. When you are cooking, there is no reason because it's boiling. So it's a question that is as good as how many angels can dance on a pinhead. It has no meaning. Even the questions has no meaning.
But I have personally experienced, the groundwater,
Yes.
which are not, which caused me problems, especially in Kabul city.
Yeah, but then you have to see if it is contaminated or not. If it's a shallow well and it's right beside a sewage, of course it's contaminated. But the groundwater, what I'm saying, remember I told you that I used to drive 70 kilometers to get artesian well from deep underground is seeping out by itself, like fountain.
So
That used to be the well. The well that Osman bought from a Jew, that for a lot of money and the hadith. That used to be the well. The tube well that you see, deep tube well that you see, is not the one. It has to be from pure underground that is not contaminated.
So, is there anything wrong with indirect purification?
Everything is wrong with everything they suggested. Right? We discussed even if you are using electricity, that water is not water anymore.
No, with natural fire. I mean,
Yes.
If I'm afraid of contamination.
Yes, but the thing is, this is what we have to understand. You don't purify randomly. If you suspect it's not good, then you purify.
With natural
But
fire.
yes, natural means. But I suspect that even if it's this is a limited problem, right? But never go for whatever they're suggesting. You know what they suggest? They put these chemical pills. They go to flood areas and they put chemical pills in there. It's chlorine pill. Chlorine is always bad. It's worse than bacteria.
Yeah, last night I read the information you circulated via WhatsApp group, and there was the, questioning Newton theories.
Yes.
And the point I became curious about that they consider that if an object is at rest, okay, and the way we question is that none of the object is at rest.
Yes.
And it has been, as you elaborated, that there is just God is at the rest.
It has no meaning.
Yeah. So what I became curious about is that when they say that when an object is at rest, they mean that it's not moving.
Relativity.
Yeah.
You
That
see,
it's not moving.
They didn't mean that. They did not mean that because Newton did not have the capability. At that time, you know what they used to think? Newton's time, the earth doesn't move. It's the sun that moves around. So they had no idea. So they really meant it's stable. If they see something and it's staying there for 1 minute, they say that's a steady state. The word steady state is absurd. There is nothing at a steady state. The time function was not known for them. Yet, in research, time function is the most important one. They did not care for history. Do you think if Newton did care for the history, he would not have become Muslim? It was not known. 700 years before Newton, all the problems that Newton was trying to solve, they were not solved. Muslims did that. That's why I keep giving a reference.
Several days ago, I raised the same question in the class. As I said that, considering molecules as radius.
Yes,
I mean, and you pointed out that that's why we are in this mess.
that's right.
Okay, that we can.
We
didn't
rely on,
answer.
and then we cannot distinguish this light with other light, this metal, plastic with real plastic, we cannot, the criterion is missing. They are giving us result, but nobody tells us it's false result. It has no meaning. Can you imagine not being able to distinguish between this and sunlight? What kind of theory is that? No, Einstein got Nobel Prize for it.
Yeah.
Yet this one gives you cancer, it is used to torture people, other one is life.
Yeah.
This constantly breathes dioxin, which is a poison, constantly. This, which is natural plastic, breathes everything organic.
Yeah, when it comes to electricity, it's okay with energy.
It's not electricity, I'm talking about this matter.
Mm.
You see, electricity is no different.
Mm.
This is matter, right?
Mm.
It's not energy, it's
Yeah,
mass.
artificial matter.
This is artificial, it constantly breathes dioxin. This is also polymer. This is also plastic, natural plastic, our skin. Constantly breathes something that is beneficial. That's the difference.
But what comes to my mind, sir, is that how we can say that all those theories, there are different theories which didn't
How exactly?
which didn't resulted in artificial matter.
No, none of them. How we will call it true or false? Remember, first criteria is what is true. Assumptions are false and illogical. Assumptions. And
So-
that's why we'll discuss that today.
Hmm.
That's why, you see, this is the one. Role of first premise. If you know the assumption is illogical, it doesn't matter what it sounds like. That's why I insist on assumptions. Because at the end, Macron will be speaking French. You cannot concentrate on Macron. You have to concentrate all Americans that speak French. Macron is an American. American.
Inductive logic.
You have to do that. Because otherwise you'll be always confused, because Macron is going to speak French. You have all the matter, say, plane is flying. So what? It's not because of you. And really you have to get this. Surah Nisa 59. Are you Hafiz of Quran?
No,
You're not? Okay.
yeah.
Is there any Hafiz of Quran here?
I learned it by degree.
Oh, you know that correct tajweed. So, yes.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا صدق الله العظيم.
We are ordered to obey Allah and the Prophet. And your leader, legitimate leader, not somebody that was appointed by Tawhid. It's an order, right? You don't have an option. How would you do that in science? You're an engineer. Who do you obey? Do you say, I obey Newton? Can you say that? And you don't have an option. It's an obligation. So, as long as you are at work, it doesn't matter if you're working for a bank, or working for defense ministry, working for agriculture, you have to obey Allah and His messenger. Even if your boss says something, right? Ulul Amr, you have a dispute, you have to go back to Quran and Hadith. That's simple. This is what we are talking about. Constantly. You go to Quran, then Hadith. You need both. You cannot have just one. Because without both, we don't have an axis. The moment you're going somewhere else, you're violating it. If you do not go there, you are using shaitan model. Right there. That's why he says, why are we studying this? All these theories. To show them La ilaha. First part, that they're false. They're wrong. How do you prove they're wrong? By questioning their underlying premises. You cannot prove them wrong by their results, because this is fascinating. Allah said Himself that I will decorate dunya for kafirs. Right? I'll decorate. So dunya is very decorated. Shaitan is very glamorous. So if you look at the results, no way you can say that, oh, New York is a pathetic country. You look at a woman, no way you can say she's not beautiful, she's ugly. You have to say, why am I calling her ugly? Because fundamental premise is wrong. Allah is beautiful, that's my fundamental premise. Allah created beautiful. So if you are not following Allah's path, you're ugly. Your criterion says that beauty means symmetry. Allah's criteria say beauty means whatever Allah created. So I am going to question your symmetry part first. It doesn't matter how beautiful these actresses look like. I'm questioning your criterion. How did you come up with this logic? And how illogical it is. So, literally, right there, somebody is going to dunya or these false theories for solution. Right there you can catch that, brother, your intention is not good. If your intention is to please Allah, you will not do that. You kill yourself before you going to shaitan. So that's why I thought this was not in the plan. I thought this is important to cover exactly the topic that you brought up last time. When honeybees find their home without GPS, isn't it true? Imagine a little guy traveling many miles, coming back the same day. Can you imagine? In space, in 3D, they can go anywhere. They're coming right back. Is that because their GPS is powerful? Somebody guided them? Their IQ is very high, they can memorize everything? No, because they are following Allah's path. They are following Allah's theory. If you just take that, that logic, the most perfect theory is what Allah created. And there is nothing more perfect, nothing more better navigation system that the bee, that is small object, goes around and after whole days of travel comes right back to the same place. They don't get lost. Nowadays they're getting lost. You know how? Because of the cell phone towers. That's a big issue. Because artificial waves mess up their system, that's why they started to getting lost. You heard that, what is it called? Colony collapse disorder, CCD. The bees are dying, and they could not figure out how. The solution is simple. So many artificial signals everywhere. What do you think that's doing? For human, we know how much damaging it is. They have research on how children become bullies. They become agitated because of Wi-Fi. That's why in Canada, many schools do not have Wi-Fi in their school. But here we don't have an option. I don't even know where the Wi-Fi is. You see the point? Point is, we have to understand fundamentally, Allah is always right, Shaitan is always wrong. And we have to find out where did Shaitan make that assumption. We catch there. We cannot catch by the result. Because they say, brother, GPS is the one that is guiding satellites and all these missiles. What are you talking about? We don't care what it's doing. We have to see what assumption was it based on. Taj Mahal was spectacular, everybody admits, right? But not because of Newtonian law. Every building today is built on, what is the standard? ISO 9000?
9001.
9001, right? That was not there. The best buildings were there. There's a joke, right? It's a common meme that today the roads, literally, every year you have to be remade because there's potholes. Romans made roads thousands of years ago. They are still alive, active. Nothing happened. Technology really today collapsed, according to them. So don't glorify Newton. Don't glorify the theory. Nothing is based on that theory. Real facts are not based on the theory. So if we accept that, Taj Mahal, because Newton was not there at that time, how about planes? planes fly does not mean Bernoulli's equations are correct. You have to see what are the assumptions of Bernoulli's equation. And they are so illogical. So illogical. This is crazy. They say, well, plane flies because Allah's rule. It does not mean Bernoulli's equation is correct. That's the whole thing. You have heard this, and all this aerodynamics, they are spending zillions of hours studying aerodynamics based on theory that is completely illogical. Once it gets into the programming system, nobody even knows. Ask any computer science if they knows the assumptions behind it, they don't. They're just programming, like a robot. That's what science with the dollar sign means. You absolutely don't care about the real ill because you have been paid. Same with Newton's third law. Rockets are not flying because of Newton's third law. They have been flying all along. All the sun, all the galaxies faster than anything else you can imagine. Can you imagine the speed of galaxies much greater than your rocket? Much greater. So whose theory is the galaxy following? So don't demean Allah by saying that it's because of Newton's. It's so demeaning. It's outright kufr. You're saying that something that obeys Allah's law, you're giving credit to shaitan. Knowing fully well the assumptions are right in front of you. I asked you that question. These are the assumptions. Why are you giving them credit?
Sir, if we say that we interpret in Allah's rule by science, isn't it?
No, it's not. We're not interpreting. We're finding out what we can do for our science. We're not studying a theoretical question, how many angels can dance on a pinhead. That's not relevant. I'm trying to solve a problem that Muhammad is suffering today. You see the point? That's my job. Omar quite correctly said, what happens in the other galaxy is none of Omar's business. In Islam, we do not do how many angels can dance on the pinhead. We do, what am I going to breathe today? Because there's nothing good to breathe. I'm dying. If I die now in the hospital, I'm going to be straight to hell because they're going to inject poison on me instead of honey. So Islam is very practical. Islam is truly engineering. We don't care about the theory. We have to find something that is based on sustainable. That's the notion of sustainability. And we have so limited time. We should go crazy. I sent you the YouTube interview of my son, right? The common question is, oh, Allah has His plan. Allah is going to send Mahdi. What will you tell Allah if you die today? You're waiting for Mahdi? What does it say? You have to wait for Mahdi. You have your job. So you cannot wait for establishment to find a defense system and become rich and famous. You are accountable for your action. You're taking salary, and what are you doing for it? So we remind you, the Macron does not speak French because all Americans speak French. He speaks French for whatever law there is. But we are not going to settle because our Macron speaks French. We are not going to accept your premises. We question that. So I don't care if plane flies or not. What are the assumptions used? That's the first task. You know, when I asked you literature review, says, what are the assumptions? So to get the way out, this is what Prophet Muhammad said, to remedy ignorance, you have to ask questions, right? But what question? Bani Israel questions are forbidden. Quran says that. What is the difference between Prophet's question and Bani Israel's question? Bani Israel never had the intention of obeying Allah. They're just questioning to make it complicated. What is obligatory for you? The intention is to obey Allah. You want to find out why? Because you want to follow it. That's your intention. You want to please Allah. Yes.
As Allah says that in a verse, الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك وقنا عذاب النار. He gave us permission that you can think about the creature of earthing, asman, heavens, asman, skies. That if we say that Kepler says that all planets are moving in elliptical orbits.
Yes.
Kepler is also the creature of Allah.
What is creature of Allah?
He is also
Qibla?
the
Galaxy?
Na, uzgura kana. Kepler خو هم د الله Kepler یو عالم ده Kepler هم د الله یو مخلوق ده کنه او دلته خو الله موږ ته داسې نه دی ویلي چې
Scientists say creature of Allah?
No.
What here is also obeying order of Allah that think of my creation.
As Allah says, thinking about the creature of sky and earth.
Yes.
Galaxy.
As Kepler is a scholar, either it's a non-Muslim, but
No, he's a scholar. Who is Shaitan? Think about it. Where happened to our logic? Isn't Shaitan Allah's creation? Didn't Shaitan spend long time worshipping Allah? What happened to that? What happened to us? Abu Jahl is a creation of Allah? Wasn't he called Abu Hakam? Do we not know that? Can you use that logic to say, oh, maybe we should study, we should take advice from Abu Jahl. We should take advice from Shaitan. You remember, this is 4:19. We're studying 4:19. This is, first, we're still on Dalala. First he said, we'll create Dalala. We're in that level.
But Allah not specify us that a Muslim, just Muslim must think about the creature of.
No, Allah never said that. You know why? Because most thinking is done by Shaitan. Most thinking is done by Shaitan. Isn't it true? It's everywhere. Shaitan is so active. He's the guy who lived forever and he has influence. That's essence of 4:19. He promised long time ago. He's following up. First thing he did, remember what I said? First thing he did is convolute our thinking process. Dalal is number one. Didn't you say that? He will cause dalala. And that's what happened to us.
Sir, and
Yeah.
if you look at the history of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that when he sent his Sahaba to Yaman to please go and learn how to make
Yes,
war.
exactly.
And also, and the other parts, if you look at the other hadiths, that
Yes.
when he was walking and someone was manipulating the destiny.
I know that hadith is fine.
That he was telling that.
But I have another interpretation.
And that he permitted us that to think
No,
about this.
he did not permit us.
That
No, that's a false conclusion. I'll tell you why. Okay? Two things. First one, he said, what was it?
and also if you look at the
So, he asked somebody to be expert of
Catapults.
manipulating.
Mentioning.
also Zaid bin Sabit. He said, become expert of two languages, Coptic and Hebrew. Right? Was it to believe what they have? No, it's a tool. Tool is what? according to first discussion I said, tool is a skill. Tool is not ilm. Ilm, it can become ilm if you are using to obey Allah. But what you are doing, we're given all these tools and you said, this is it. You have no other tool. Find out if poison X is better than poison B. What I'm saying, that's not enough. I don't want to use any poison. It doesn't matter who is asking me. I want to prove these are poisons, we have to find something else. That's all it is. That's why we have an example from Shaitan and an example from Muslims. Nobody can be better in his skill than Shaitan. Because Shaitan lived forever, isn't it true? He knows all the languages. He has seen the whole history. So we cannot compete in skill. Computer produces results in fraction of a second. You know, as big calculations it will solve in fraction of a second. Humans cannot do that. Does it mean it's more intelligent?
No.
It's artificial intelligence. That's the whole idea.
It is very important, as you mentioned before, that we are responsible for our actions. And also today...
No, action, responsible for our intention.
What we are doing, and Allah will ask us that
Yes,
what we
that's right,
did in the
exactly.
past. And also that Allah also ordered us وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَمِن رِّبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ وَعَدُوَّكُمْ. And today it means that capability of Muslim Ummah, that how to become stronger, to also obey Allah and also avoid those people that they are on the wrong way, and they should come to Islam, and also we will implement all the rules of Allah and how to do that. It is actually the main responsibility is that to do.
No, the dawah, I have a different take on it. It's not. You see, Prophet had to do that because he had nobody. He had nobody. He started with himself. Then Khadija, then Abu Bakr, right? So you had to do dawah because there is nobody. You had done with dawah. Now it's time to purify. We have 73 firqa, right? 73 divisions. Only one is righteous. Don't you want to know which one is righteous? Don't you want to belong to that group? Did Prophet go out and say, let's Jews and Yahud, let's all unite? What do you think the 72 groups are? They are following Jews and Nasaras. Isn't it true? Prophet said that. So it's not a matter of uniting, it's not a matter of going out and giving dawah like Tabligh people do. It's about you, what you are doing tomorrow. So we seek Him for what? So we can obey Allah with love.
But it is also, I'm not talking about furuq or firqa that is called.
I know you are not
groups,
talking about.
But now we are living under an Islamic Emirate, and here is a government, and what is our responsibility here? What we should do? It is also very important.
It falls under Amr bin Ma'ruf or Nahy anil Munkar. But keep in mind, this is the best country there is. Today, when my son was, have you gone to that site? It's worth reading the comments.
Yes,
it's very interesting. Yes. One guy is commenting that. Oh, he has an agenda. He's saying there is confusion is because of hadith. See, the Quran is which verse he is citing? I think it's an Egyptian guy. He's citing 459. That's why I remember that verse. 459 said, obey Allah and Rasul, and if there's a dispute, you go to Rasul again. And he's saying, you discard hadith. So how are you going to obey Rasul when you don't want to consider hadith? See, that's why people, if they have false intention, you can never fight them. They will always give the most illogical answer. You see the point? He's saying that we are in a mess. because you are following hadith. And he's citing Quran that says, obey Allah and Rasul. That's his reference. That's how easy it is to deconstruct. Ask right monthly question and all these shaitans will fall apart. Very easy. So, another thing that comes up very often, that brother, you're talking about honey, where can I get pure honey? So you're waiting for pure honey to start. In the meantime, you're drinking sugar. No problem. So we're waiting for Mahdi to come. In the meantime, we're following shaitan. That's not it. We are purpose of our creation is to obey Allah with love. Lovingly. Not grudgingly. That's what abd means. So when you're facing a problem, any problem, this is the example of Bani Israel question. Prove this theory is correct. Yesterday, who was it? I forgot. Who was came with the rocket fuel? You did? Rocket fuel.
Yes.
You did. See, the question was, we have these two fluids, right? Test it. I said, remember what I said? That's not a starting point. You do not test poison A and poison B. You find out what is the correct one. So, flat earth theory for thousands of years, they are promoting flat earth theory. And everybody, all the scientists prove it is true. Nobody questioned, what kind of question is that? You see the point? Question already assumes that the earth is flat. How many times you have proven Newton's gravitational law is correct by dropping something and measuring the time to fall? It proved for you, you're taught that it proved gravitational theory is correct. If you start off like that, you can never get out. Because within the perimeter, you cannot see. But unfortunately for us, we only saw this part. But what I urge you to do is go beyond that and see what Muslims did. It's also in history. They will tell you. And we'll discuss pretty soon. The top Muslim scholars until today are considered to be the father of this discipline. Father of modern medicine, father of optics, father of social science. They are all Muslims. You don't have to bring Kepler in there.
Sorry, sir, there
According
were
to them.
so many questions
Yes.
today. Yeah.
No problem.
The point is, as you elaborated, that we might have short-term objectives and long-term
Yeah.
objectives. So, as Muslims, it's good to question those theories and come up with our ones. Which,
It's not good. You have to, because those are the only one available today.
Yeah.
You must.
We have to. Yeah, it's.
بشكل انتقادي ممكن
Yeah.
يقولون لك
we,
دليل
yeah, we are obligated, but
Yeah.
to achieve our short-term objectives, you know, the Muslims countries and
Yeah.
the, you know.
I got your question. What do you do? I use that quite often. It's a medical example. If you have cut, it's emergency, right? It's an emergency. What do? You have Band-Aid. You know Band-Aid, right?
Yes, sir.
Quickly, it's gone. You have Dettol. You know what Dettol is? Antiseptic.
Yeah.
Antiseptic, right? You put right away. Middle-aged people will tell you that, put Dettol, otherwise there will be infection. Right?
Yeah.
We have to have the courage to say, no, that's not correct. I'll put honey. I'll put olive oil. It's there. We have forgotten. People say, oh brother, there's an emergency. I say, what greater emergency than Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam being poisoned? What greater emergency than Omar being killed? You know what they give Omar?
Yeah.
gave him milk, and milk was coming out. That's when they realized that he's going to die. Do we think Allah did not equip them? They did not have the knowledge? Prophet, they were closest to the Prophet? Do you think Prophet was an idiot, astaghfirullah, to say that after poisoning, go to the cupping? They are still there. So we do not even turn our head, because our head is in a state of sujood to shaitan. Whatever we were told, we believed it.
But in defense...
For everything, there is a short-term solution that is from nature. But we want to look.
In defense context...
Of course it is. Of course, and we'll demonstrate. For everything. You don't have to settle for anything. That's why pretty soon I'll show the degradation, and there is a slide on defense as well. Intelligence. You don't have to settle for shaitan. Allah did not leave us alone like this. But why do you not look? Because I have a contract. In the West, it's always the case. I have a contract. I'm paid money. I'm supposed to do this, which I have done. I have given an example of my student. He was supposed to compare corrosion inhibitor 1 and corrosion inhibitor 2. $500,000. That was only his job. Instead, he demonstrated one or two. Then he showed olive oil, mustard oil, and fish oil does the same job, actually a lot better, and it's good for the environment.
Like sugar or honey.
Exactly, like sugar and honey. So somebody tells you, is aspartame, compare aspartame with saccharin. So yeah, aspartame is worse, but we have honey there.
Yes, that's exactly.
For everything, petroleum, same. They ask you, methanol added or unleaded, which one is better? So no, they're both bad. But I'll tell you that unleaded is worse than leaded one, right? Which is not common logic, but I will show you that. But best one is crude oil. So, oh, our engine doesn't work. So that's your problem. That's why we're in a mess. You design engine for refined oil. So even that one, I'll give you short-term solution. Use zeolite to refine. Use natural heating for refining. Then you're okay. It's everywhere. Natural solution is the cheapest. Natural solution is the fastest. And it's the only one that's sustainable. For everything. So here, Muslims face that problem. Except this guy was proved. What does any scientist gain by learning if the earth is flat? How flat it is? Is there any gain? They are asking you to prove falsehood. But they do that because they take money. What do they gain by asking how many angels can dance on a pinhead? Does it have any meaning? Who cares? But that's the only one. Today MIT asks how to park a car sideways. What kind of stupid question is that? I don't care. The car is not good. According to you, it's not good. So why do you want me to? It's like how many genders there is. Joe Biden's time, they said 73 genders. Trump, in one signature, millions of dollars was spent to find out how many genders you have. Trump, with one signature, said there are only 2 genders. That's simple. So we have become really stupid to even fall for it. And we do not see a lot of Muslims, even including Omar Sulaiman or something like that. He was with the LGBTQ. His brother, they support Palestine, therefore I'm supporting them. Completely nonsense. So they face the same problem. Why they are doing it, I do not know, but they had a good reason. And our model is ostrich egg. Nothing else. So what is the question they ask? What is the real shape of the earth? Rather than saying, prove this theory. They were not asked to prove falsehood. They are not asked to prove this rocket fuel is better than this rocket fuel. They are asked to asked what rocket fuel is acceptable. Open question, and that's obligation. And this is haram. This is Bani Israel question. So what happened? They took ostrich egg. Where did they find that idea? From Quran. You see, there are two ways to start. Quran, which is readable ayah, and the earth, the visible ayah, whatever happens. If there is a object, that could be our model because it exists in nature. What is happening in nature? Muslims studied nature. They studied Quran. So that was the beginning point. Today, after 1,000 years, what is the kite shape? Do you know? According to bad guys, they say it is ovoid. Do you know what ovoid means? It's egg-shaped. Is that true? Is it true? Tell me now. After 1,000 years, is it true? Is Earth egg-shaped? Is it true? Don't you want to ask which egg? Because all eggs are not the same size, shape. You see, even now we do not get it. Today, with all this technology, but they got it 1,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago. That was precise, that was based on Quran. And today, with all the satellite and everything, we still call it egg-shaped. And we are happily calculating. So this is the source. Your source is not Quran or visible, real things, not artificial. Then you are on the wrong path. It's not a starting point. This example we talked about, so Galileo was tasked with this one, and he assumed conventional wisdom was it always goes round. If the density is higher of the object, it falls faster, right? That's what they used to believe. Galileo was the first one to say that no, it doesn't. If it's assumed that it does, then he would come up with linear. In every master's and PhD program, they start off with linear, then mashallah they come up with